Six Sigma methodology. So the main methodology in Six Sigma, there are certain different methodologies which is used in Six Sigma. For example, the DMADF methodology, Dmac methodology, and then we have Dfss methodology, etc. So the DMADP methodology, D stands for define the problem, the goal, etc. Measure the current status, what is going on, what your customers want, what the specifications are, what is the present scenario that you have to measure. Analyze, identify the process to meet customer needs, where you can improve, what you can improve, etc. And in design, you will come out with a new process that caters exclusively to the areas where the customer needs will be met, where the customer has told improvement is required, those areas will be met. That is the design phase. And then verify the design performance and ability to test this. But after designing a prototype, when you introduce it to the customers, check their feedback, how they are responding to the new design, and accordingly any other changes has to be made. You have to again do the changes. If no changes is required, you can continue with the new design. So that is the DMADV methodology of Six Sigma. So in define the project, measure, determine the customer's requirement, etc. Analyze, identify the functions, generate and select the concepts, etc. In design phase, develop a new design, test the design components, and verify the design performance, do the quality checks, and implement the design. So that is the DMADV methodology in Six Sigma. Then we have Dfss and Dmac. And if you are doing a new product development, you do the Dfss, and that is designed for Six Sigma. So it's a new innovation which you are going to put it into practice. That is Dfss. You are designing exclusively something for Six Sigma. So that's a new product development. You observe what is going on. So there are some gaps which need to be filled that you found out in the observation stage. You design and develop instruments and innovations that will fill those gaps, and then you test that design. Is it filling those gaps? If not, what changes in the design you have to make so that it does that filling up the gap. And then once you are finalized with the prototype, which you are sure which will fill the gap which you have observed, launch the product. After launching the product, based on its feedback, you do product improvement if necessary. If it is completing all the criteria, there is no need for product improvement until the time permits or before it gets obsolete. So product improvement will come as a response to the feedback that your product is getting from the consumers. So solve any quality related issues, durability issues, dependability issues. You have to solve that using the Dmac methodology of Six Sigma. So we will see what is this Dmac methodology in the next slide. So Dmac methodology, D stands for define the problem again. See what are the quality issues that your consumers have told you where improvement is required. Correct in measure, M stands for measure. Collect the relevant data about the process and the problem. What is currently happening? Okay. Do the process mapping, etc. What is currently happening? You draw it out. Okay. What are the present scenario? You collect data regarding to the present scenario. You analyze where issues are coming up. Okay. What is causing the delays? What is causing issues? What is creating problems? You check. You find out those things here. Here, you will just process map things that are happening and why bad things are happening. That will be in the A stage, that is analyze stage. Okay. After understanding why things are happening in the wrong way or why bad things are happening, you go to the I phase, that is improve. Okay. You try to solve the problems which you have analyzed in analyze phase. And finally, when you get ideas on how to improve or how to solve the problem, you put it into practice and you control. In control, you will see after implementing any improvement step? Is the problem being solved? If yes, make sure the improvement, the new step, the new design, new policies or procedure is being followed up till the end. If it is not able to improve the problems identified in the analyze phase, again go to the analyze phase, again find out new solution and put the new improvement plan. That is control. If it is working, let it work. If it is not working, find another solution. That is the control phase. So define phase. In define phase, you will answer the questions like, what do the customer want from the project? What are the issues you wish to address? What is the scope of the project? What are the critical to quality aspects of the project? What is the reason for change? For example, MRI, the waiting time in MRI is around 2 to 3 hours. Okay, so customers want reduced waiting time. They want their MRI to be done soon and results to be given to them soon. Okay, so that's the problem which you have identified. Waiting time is too long in MRI. So what are the issues you wish to address? You want to address the customer satisfaction in the MRI department. What is the scope of the project? What else you can bring it into the MRI department? What else the MRI department can provide for customer satisfaction? What are the critical quality aspects of the project? If you rush things through just to reduce the waiting time, will it affect the quality of the results of MRI? Okay, what is the reason for change? You want to change because the time is a factor. You don't want to waste your patient's resources, time, etc. on just one department. So that's the defined phase. You identified exactly what you want to do. You want to reduce the waiting time of MRI. Okay, so that's the goal. You have defined the problem. Waiting time in MRI is too much. You want to reduce it. Problem and goal done in D phase. Then in measure phase, map the process and identify inputs and outputs. Measure the gap, measure overall performance of the core business process, make cause and effect matrix. So what you do in measure phases, what is currently happening in MRI. Okay, when a patient comes, at what time the patient is arriving in the MRI department, at what time the patient is handing over their reports to the MRI reception. Okay, when will the reports go from the MRI reception to the radiologist? When will the patient will be called? You note all these time as given, as you have observed. Note all this time. Currently, it is happening at the present time. You map out the process, what is happening, and after mapping out the process, you will find that you will have to make a cause and effect matrix just to find waiting time is more. Yes, that's a problem. But why the waiting time is more? You will outline the man, machine, method, material, prototype. You will just map it out. That is done in the measure phase. Current practices are just mapped out. Waiting time, if it is a waiting time, you observe the waiting time and note the exact waiting time based on the patient coming and going. Then you analyze phase, the prototype of the cause and effect diagram which you have made at the last stage of measure phase. You perform a root cause analysis on that prototype. You will ask 5 whys questions in each man, material, method area of that Ishikawa fishbone cause and effect diagram. So you will do the root cause analysis. You will identify which area in the which process in the entire MRI department takes the most time and why it is taking the most time. For example, you identified the machinery is quite worn out. The MRI machine is quite old. It requires a lot of time in processing and putting together the images. And you also find that radiologist is there is just one radiologist to perform all the functions. So regarding to the machine and the man, you understood there is something wrong. And the method, there is only one reception staff. And there are no nurse assistants assistant available to help the patients. Okay, so these are the things you have identified during the root cause analysis regarding machine, man, method, materials, etc. So you define a revised CPOC and process methods, the supply, input, process, output, and customer chart, etc. You have identified all the critical inputs where things are wrong, where we may require improvement, etc. Okay, so that is the analyze phase. And then in improvement phase, what happens is optimize critical inputs, identify improvement breakthroughs, apply idea generating tools and techniques like NGT technique, brainstorming technique, etc. Identify and select high gain alternatives, think systematically and holistically, prioritize and evaluate the solution against the solution evaluation criteria, conduct feasibility assessment for the highest value solution, develop preliminary solution timelines, cost benefit analysis, and train the people. So putting all these things together is, for example, cost benefit analysis, high value solution, alternatives and everything. Check for the machinery. The machinery is worn out. It's quite old. You have to replace it with a new machinery. So that's a capital investment. So when it comes to a capital investment, you will have to do a cost benefit analysis. You want to buy a new MRI, it's a capital investment. Do the cost benefit analysis. That is the highest value solution. Okay, so what is the alternative? Can you repair your repair the present machine? Don't go for new machine. Repair your present machine. Will it give enough profit? Will it continue to give profit? And if it gives, for how long? Okay, so alternatives have been developed. When there is only one radiology staff, you want to hire one more or two more, so that it helps out the present situation in your MRI department. So that's alternatives. And then moving some nursing staff to the radiology department to assist the radiologist, adding few more reception desk in the radiology department. So these are all the alternatives and everything which you gained. These are the ideas which you gained by applying many idea generating tools and techniques, etc. So that's how you went about with the improvement phase. Okay, you at the end of the improvement phase, you have solutions with you. Okay, you have n number of solutions. Should you upgrade your MRI machine? Should you buy a new MRI machine? You have to hire few employees, radiologists, nurses, and reception staff, etc. So solutions are, now you have the solutions. At the end of the improvement phase, you have solutions for each and every problems which you have identified in the analysis. Finally, in the control phase, the solutions which you have identified, you put them into action. You hired a radiology staff. Instead of upgrading, you directly went for buying a new MRI machine. And then you had put another one reception staff, so at least two patients can be seen at one time. So, and even the old machine, you have not discarded the old machine. The old machine is also in use. You have renovated your MRI department and you have introduced a new machine. So now you have two MRI machines, you have two reception staff, you have two radiologists, you have nursing assistants coming from other departments to help the radiologist. Okay, so all the for each and every problems which you have identified in the analyze phase, you now have solutions implemented for each problems. So now you will see, again you will do the waiting time study. You will again, the things that you have identified in the measure phase, you will again do the process mapping of the new situation. Okay, earlier the waiting time was, the average waiting time was 2 hours. Now you have found the average waiting time is half an hour and your patients are quite satisfied. So the things you have implemented was quite successful. If at all, for example, if you had gone for some alternative, like you didn't buy a new MRI machine, you are operating with the same old MRI machine, but you have put staffs. Okay, maybe it has reduced the waiting time by 1.5 hours, but it is, you have not accomplished your goal of reducing the waiting time too much. So in that case, again, you have to do some quality control issues. has to be clarified. So that is the control phase. If things which you have implemented is working, with the goals you have set in the defined phase, you standardize it. You all make it a policy and procedure to have at least 2 radiologists in your department, have at least 2 MRI machine in your department, at least 2 reception staff in your department. So that will be the standard procedures which will be followed in your or MRI department from now on. So that's the control phase.